Hi everyone, it's Karen here with a new video tutorial on how to create watercolored faces using Jane Davenport stamps and watercolors. Enjoy! For this video, I used the Jane Davenport's face stamps. This is a do-it-yourself faces where you just stamp them on paper and then you can color in with any type of medium. You get the base of the face on the stamp and then a few different ones for the eyes, for the nose, and for the mouth. I took some Versa fine ink, black ink, and using watercolor paper I stamped it onto the background. I just stamped the face. Then I took the eyes and I put them in the right spot first to see where I wanted to stamp them, and then I stamped underneath the eyebrows. I apologize for the focusing of the camera. I did turn off that autofocus off and then it started working properly. This Fiskars stamp block that I'm using, it's great for this type of stamping because you can use it to line up where you want the stamp to go, and then you press firmly and it stamps the image. The nice thing, it has these 4 rubber bases underneath the stamp block, and that has a give to the block so you can place it without ruining your paper, and then as soon as you're ready to stamp you just press in the middle and it stamps it perfectly. For the first face I stamped each item individually. But for the second face, I thought I would do them all at once. So first I stamped the base of the face, and then I put the eyes, the nose, and the mouth at the same time so I could stamp them all at once. I had to switch the mouth because they didn't all 3 fit at the same time. But once I was able to fit all 3 of them, I took my stamp block and just pressed on them, and then they came out the way they were supposed to. And I just added the ink, went back, placed it in the same spot, and pressed. And that worked out perfectly. I went ahead and created the last 2 faces. First I stamped the base, and then I used the other eyes, nose, and mouth that I hadn't used before. I really like this stamp set because I am not the best at drawing faces. Although I've wanted to learn how to do them, I should practice more often. I haven't. So this is a great way of creating these really cool faces and playing around with them without having to draw your own. I really love the expressions on these faces. I guess when Jane Davenport drew them for the stamps, she made these really cute expressions more likely, that were just perfect for these faces. Now it's time to color each of the faces. I took a brown crayon. This is a regular Crayola crayon because I wanted to create some marks for the hair and I wanted it to resist the watercolor. This watercolor colors that I'm using is the Prima Pastel Dreams Watercolor Confections, and I'm using a water brush which has water inside, so I can press on it and dilute the ink, the color that I'm putting. The watercolor resisted the brown crayon, so the lines for the hair would show. And I would use a wipe to just remove some of the color so I could dilute it more. This is a great way to create lines with watercolor. It's a great resist technique. The key to coloring a face is to use the darker color on the outside near the edges of the face, and then draw the watercolor in by diluting it with a little bit of water. So you get the darker areas near the outside lines, and then it gets lighter as it gets to the middle of the face. Same thing when you're creating a neck. And I did use my crayon again to just create some lines down by the neck so I could have a full-faced person. To add some contrast to the painting, I added some blue in the background in those areas where I didn't have any hair or neck or face, so it would contrast against that face. This is a very simple watercoloring technique, but I really was in the mood to create something really simple, as I always create very intricate things. And this was just a way for me to relax and just create something for fun. So it was just something simple, but I really love how these faces came out to be. I realized that I needed to hide the line of the face at the top. So I took some red and I just created kind of a headband on top of the girl's head. I think for future reference I might avoid stamping the top of the head so I could avoid that part and not have that line in my background. For my next girl, I wanted to create a redhead, as my daughter is a redhead, and I just thought I wanted to create somebody looking similar to her. And I created a little bit of shorter hair and just added some orange and some other colors just to create highlights in the hair and create this really cool hair. I was trying to do like a messy style with the paintbrush, so it's not perfect because I like it to look more distressed. I did the same thing with the face. I added the darker color on the outside and then just washed it as it went in with the watercolor and the water, and created a neck the same way. This time I also went ahead and painted the eyes and the lips. I did the eyes bluish green like my daughter's, and then I went with some red lips. Again, I created a red headband above the head, so they actually, all the girls have a red headband in that area, so it covers that really that line that I didn't like. For the next girl, I wanted to create a little bit of a darker skin tone. So I went in with the light brown and I just created it going in as well. And then I used my wipe to just remove some of the extra paint that I wanted to have the highlights in the middle. So I needed to remove some of that paint. Then to create the hair, I took my crayon again and created some curly hair around the girl's head, and I just went and twirled it around because this would be the lines that would be perfect for adding watercolor on top. Then I went in with the brown again and added the hair around the curls just so it would create these really nice highlights in the hair. I really love how this girl turned out, and I just played around with the tones of the skin just to make it look how I liked it. Then I went and gave her brown eyes and a red mouth again as well. And of course I went back and did the headband and also did the background, a contrasting background with a different color, just so it would stand, if the face would stand out. Finally, the last girl, I tried to make her a little bit blonde, although I started with the yellow and then I ended up adding some orange highlights, so she came out half blonde, half redhead, but it's still really pretty, and I love the expression on her face as well. I made this girl's face a little bit more rosy and peachy because I wanted to just change the tones on the different faces so they would not all be the same. I went ahead and created the neck and also colored in the eyes and the mouth the same way as I'd done before. Same with the background and also the headband on top of the head. I wanted to highlight that headband a little bit more, so I took Faber-Castell Stamper's big brush pen in red and just basically highlighted each one of the headbands a little bit more so it would really cover that line. Then I took a black marker, and this is a Fude ball marker, and just added some really nice patterns on the headband and also created some earrings for some of the girls so they would just look different from each other. I find it relaxing not only making these faces but also the watercoloring part of it, and just even watching my own video back as I'm doing it and editing it. It's just really relaxing to just do these type of things sometimes. Instead of doing these intricate designs, sometimes it's just nice to do something simple like a watercolor. I cannot be myself without adding some distress onto my work. So I took some vintage photo distressing from Tim Holtz and a new stamp from Tim Holtz called from the Etcetera collection, and I just basically stamped some images, the one that looks like a ledger, onto the background, and then sprayed it with a little bit of water to kind of dilute it and create it more like a watermark. I went and I did this on all the 4 different girls, just so it would look a little bit more distressed. I think the stamp gave it the girls a little bit more character, and also gave it that distressed look that I like. So I was really happy that I had added this to the background. Finally, I took the distressed ink and just put it on my mat and sprayed it with a little bit of water, and then ran each watercolor paper through the ink to just edge each one of the borders. Thank you so much for watching. For more inspiration, subscribe to my YouTube channel and share it with your friends. Bye!